This is John again, and you might be wondering what I'm doing here at a busy roadside. Well, before I started on today, I wanted to share a quick story about my biggest mistake, perhaps in life. So, when I was 21, I went to Iceland and I was driving a car that I had rented. And on that night, I want you to imagine a snow filled and laden road. It was snowing very heavily, the wind speeds were 34 kilometers per hour, and I was wondering what I was even doing. And when I drove down, suddenly I knocked in and banged into something, and I didn't know what happened, but things in the car started ringing and there were alarms, and I had absolutely no idea what was happening. I was scared I was going to lose my life that night, and so I ended up driving slowly down the mountain. Sounds about right, doesn't it? But when I reached the bottom of the mountain, I ended up destroying and wrecking the car. I realized that the car was totaled and it couldn't move when I reached the bottom of the mountain. I had to pay $9,000 Sing dollars for that car, and it turned out that was probably my biggest money mistake. Why am I sharing with you this story? You know, many times when we as young people talk about money, we don't talk very much about the mistakes that we make. In the online forums or Facebook or Instagram, you see people sharing quick schemes of how to get rich, like cryptocurrency, selling something, and guaranteed riches. But they don't talk very much about the mistakes they make whilst trying to make more money. And today, I really wanted to share with you the misconceptions and myths that we have as young people in making money. And hopefully, that helps us to think about how we can manage our money better as millennials. Often the first misconception that we have is that I am making money. This is a misconception because you are actually not making money. You are simply exchanging time for money. This is an important concept to have because therein lies a big contradiction. You can always make more money, but you cannot make more time. When you work for someone, you are exchanging your time for a salary. For example, today if you go to work, you are exchanging the skills that you have for a set sum of money at the end of the day. And so the important thing to break is the link between time and money. Very often, if you look at it this way, the person who works the longest hours isn't necessarily the person who earns the most money. That's why if you look at hourly waged workers, they don't necessarily earn as much money as someone like Warren Buffett, for example, often known as the world's greatest investor, who just sits in his office, reads his books, and occasionally makes investment decisions. And so the first most important misconception that we have is that you or I am making money. We are not making money, we are exchanging time for money. And so 3 practical things that you can do to draw this link a bit closer for yourself is, firstly, to calculate how much you are actually earning each hour. Include in all the hours you spend traveling to and from work each day, and then divide that by the number of dollars you get each month. So for example, I realized that each month I was only earning about $19 per hour. And that meant that the stick that I was spending on cost me, in fact, 1 hour of my life. The fact is that money is infinite, but time is finite. You have all seen the people who work very hard, earn a lot of money, but end up having no time to spend that money. For you, the first question to ask is, what is enough for you? That might not be $1 million, it might be just a small sum of money, but you have to think about whether that is going to fulfill your life's goals. So that is the second thing that you can think about. The first one is to think about your hourly wage calculated in real terms, and to ask yourself whether what you spend on is worth in terms of its real life costs rather than its dollar cost. The second thing to think about is what is enough for you. What is really enough for you? The third thing to think about is to track every single dollar that you spend. Very often, we do not know where our money goes, but it's only after you start tracking diligently every single dollar that you realize that money doesn't actually run away that easily. You're making conscious or unconscious choices, and the most important thing is to bring those unconscious choices to the front of your consciousness by tracking it, let's say in an Excel sheet or an app. But make sure you track it. That is the first misconception. I am making money. Second misconception that we have about money is that of thinking that I can do this later. Once I was speaking to a friend that was thinking about spending or investing his money, and he was giving me all these reasons like, I'm too tired, I don't have energy, I need to learn more, and then after some more excuses, he said, okay, I admit, I'm just procrastinating. Very often when we have this misconception that we can do this money thing later, what we are actually saying is that I need to do this right. I need to do this right. So it can be really scary to suddenly handle thousands of dollars when, as a university graduate, or for the past 25 years of your life, all you've been handling is a few hundreds of dollars each month. And congratulations that you are finally earning so much money. But in thinking about investing or in thinking about managing your money, I think it's more important that you start reframing losing or the possibility of losing as learning instead. What you would realize is that very, very often, no one starts off winning. Even Warren Buffett, the world's greatest investor, didn't start off by winning over and over again. Today, his conglomerate, Berkshire Hathaway, was his greatest mistake. His greatest mistake actually turned out not to be, because he learned from that. And so today, if you're scared of making mistakes in terms of managing your money, reframe it as learning rather than losing. And if you make some mistakes, then ask yourself, what can I learn from this, rather than blaming yourself for what you have lost from it. At the end of the day, these two misconceptions, that I can do this money thing later, and the first one, that I am making money, are two misconceptions that can be resolved by realizing that actually you are learning and not losing, and that there is no right and wrong way of investing or managing your money, but there is only ways that work or don't work at that particular time that allows you to learn from your mistakes rather than to lose from each mistake that you make. And then in terms of reconciling the link between money and time, it is realizing that making money sometimes is just exchanging your life for money. So it is about asking yourself, are you making a living or are you making a dying? Are you earning more money to do more of the things that you want, or earning more money without any realization of what it can be for? People often say that money is the root of all evil. If you ask me why I'm so interested about money, it's because when I initially started, it was driven by fear. I would see all these old people working so hard, even after retirement, and I told myself that I never wanted to be like that. But over time, I realized that with money, you could use it as a force for good. You can use it as a force for good to bless people who might not have so much, and to realize that money is not only for you, yourself, and me, but it's for all of us.